Welcome to this episode where we're going to be talking about how to position yourself as the go-to industry leader, the authority in your niche. This episode is jam-packed full of goodness. You're going to absolutely love this episode. This is the difference between you making easy sales and not. In a single sentence, this is how, and personally from my own perspective as well, this is how I've been able to consistently grow my business to the scale and brand that I've got whilst having a relatively small audience. It's this. So this episode is going to be juicy. And what I will also say is, if you're someone that is thinking to yourself, how can I set myself as an authority if I either don't yet have big money wins to talk about or don't want to be talking about money wins full stop? What else can I be using as my authority piece? You're going to enjoy this episode. Get your pen and paper ready. We are going to school. Class is in session. And also, just on a little side note, it has only been a few days since I recorded a podcast because I threw one up in the middle of the week just because I felt called to do so earlier this week. It has literally only been a few days and yet I feel like I've missed you guys. Who's getting attached? Welcome, honey. Glad to be back with you. Okay, so get your pen and papers ready, get your phone out. We are diving in. So when it comes to, when I talk about authority, what I mean is the people who, when you land on their profile, from a 3-second glance, you instantly know whether they are someone that has got their shit together and is clearly a defined industry leader. Now, there's certain things that you can look for, and everyone might have their own opinion on this, but things that I look for, yes, follower count can be helpful, but it's certainly not the be all and end all, because I can land on someone's profile who has less than 1,000 followers, and yet I can tell just from their messaging how successful they are or not. And so people can be wildly successful and only have a small following. And it comes down to things like the confidence in their messaging, the preciseness, and other ways that they instantly build trust. So we're going to dive into this today. So, and just to reiterate there, if you aren't building trust and showing people why you're the authority, they're not going to buy from you. It's as simple as that. People aren't going to buy if they can't trust you as an authority, because there are hundreds, if not thousands of people who do what you do. And so with plenty of choice on the market, and people don't really want to have to choose, and they don't want to have to shop around for too long. They're not looking for this to be a real hard decision. So the easier you can make this decision for them by setting yourself as an authority, the easier it's going to be for them to come through and buy. So let's get into it. But firstly, just a word on money marketing, because I know that some of you, like how I referenced, whether you're someone that already uses money marketing but doesn't feel like they've got big enough wins to talk about yet, or maybe you've had some big wins but they haven't been consistent, or you're not yet talking about money marketing, up to you, whatever your personal stance is on that. The fact of the matter is, the reason why money marketing works is that it's not just a bragging point for people to use in their marketing. Okay, well, it is for some people. However, revenue and the financial performance of a business has always been used as a metric of how successful the business is doing since the dawn of time. So whether you like money marketing or not, the fact is that it's a success metric. So if people are talking about what the business is doing, the fact is they're showing success within the business, and people want to buy from people who are already successful. So to a certain point, I don't give a damn about what your personal opinion is on money marketing. You wouldn't have things like the FTSE 250 and the FTSE 500, which is the, oh God, Sarah, what is it going to be? The Financial Times, what's the SO stand for? The FTSE 250. Basically, the group of companies, like the S&P 500, it's the group of companies that are either the top 100, top 250 or top 500 of the UK. US has their equivalent. It's the top performing companies based on revenue. So And that's how we measure companies' success. So just giving you that little nugget of keep that in mind when people are marketing. And yes, okay, take it with a pinch of salt because people are possibly sliding on some numbers here or there. But the fact is, people use money marketing because it is and has always been a measure of success. So it's a way of reducing people's risks so that it's easier for their clients to come through and buy, because they're like, hey, here's what's going on in the business. Here's where we're successful. Here's what's selling well. So putting that in a box to one side, let us go back to authority. What does it actually mean to be an authority, to be the industry leader? Why do people talk about being the go-to? Right, the reason why this is when you're an authority or an industry leader, you're saying, I am above the average person in this subject area of knowledge. Like if the standard average was a 7 out of 10, I am in the 8, 9 or 10 out of 10 category for my subject knowledge or experience in this area. I'm a step above the rest. You know, so when you're aligning yourself as an authority, you're basically saying to your ideal clients, hey, I'm not just someone that like picked this up yesterday. I've been doing this. I have been out, establishing myself or been acquiring extra knowledge or experience in this industry, in this area. So someone who is an authority or is an industry leader is a master. What's the mistress? I was going to say, what is the female equivalent of master? And I almost said mattress. Imagine. What is the female equivalent of master? It can't be mistress. Interesting. We'll come back to that one. Anywho, the point is, an authority is a leader on the subject. So this person has, number one, substantial, not just knowledge of their subject area, substantial knowledge of their subject area. And you can see this coming through in their content. They're able to just either pour out stuff that other people can't talk about, or you can see it through their content in the breadth and the variety of ideas that they come out with, the ease at which they create content, either in depth, in variety, like the way that they flow through ideas, or maybe they bring in humor, or they just playful with it because they know the industry so well. So this person is a recognized industry leader within their niche. And again, this isn't about having a massive following. You can be a recognized industry leader with a very small following. And this is about how you bring your authority into your content. Someone else who is an authority can help others who are behind them on the path. So if you're, the expert inside out, you're able to help people who do what you do, but they don't do it to the level that you do it. So the more that you can align yourself as an authority, the more you're going to have people, even your peers who are in the same industry as you, signing up to either your freebies or your paid offers, because they'll be like, how is she doing this? And your peers, you could say your competitors, but who aren't on the same level as you, will be signing up to work with you because they will want to know and just get closer and learn from you as the expert in your industry. Something else that an authority, a quality that they have, is the ability to change their approach depending on the situation. Now, again, someone that doesn't have a high level of knowledge or expertise might be a bit stuck in their approach, thinking that there's one way of doing things, whereas someone who's really acquired mastery of their subject knowledge can choose how best to navigate a situation, depending on either, what's most appropriate or what they feel called to do. But just has that leadership mentality. They're not afraid of either being seen as being wrong or changing direction, in pursuit of what is right and what is true, or where their future direction is. So, a little bit on why being an authority is something that you should be aiming to do if you're not already. And then I'm going to go into how you can actually bring this into your business without using money marketing. I've already explained why money marketing pays, so you already know to be bringing that in as and when you can. But what I am going to cover is ways to build your authority. But before we get onto that, why should you be really, really bringing this in? Other than the fact that it's the easiest way to get people to trust you. So, number one is it sets you apart in a competitive space. You know, there's hundreds of thousands of other people who do what you do. So authority and influence is what makes your brand stand out in this competitive space when everybody's got their piece to shout and do, and there's how many pieces of content that your ideal clients, your audience are going to be seeing all of the time. This is what's going to help set you apart. Your authority will be weaved into your content. It's part of your USPs. So when people are on your page and binging your content, or even if they're just scrolling through their newsfeed and they see one of your content pieces, if you've got a little bit of your authority, your big dick energy, your main character energy weaved through that content piece, instantly that's going to stand out to someone who, if they already know you, great, but even if they're new in your world and they're like, who's this person? It's going to instantly capture their attention. So there's that bit, setting you apart in a competitive space. Number two is people have too many options to be able to choose. They've got decision fatigue. They've already done loads of shopping today. They've already gone through God knows how many providers, how many coaches. They've been shopping. So the easier that you can position yourself as the no-brainer investment and align yourself as the obvious choice, the less shopping they've got to do, the less decision fatigue they've got to experience. And so this is why it's so important to be able to do this, is you're making your ideal clients' lives easier because they'll have to do less shopping. The more that you can bring into your content, the more you can align yourself as the authority that they can trust. They won't need to go anywhere else because they'll be like, yep, she is for me. Number 3 on this why being an authority pays is being bold enough to make mistakes shows leadership and humanization. You know, if all you're talking about is wins, like, yeah, awesome that your page is just a continuous success page. Love that for you. But people relate to people when they're not winning. It makes you a lot more relatable, a lot more human. So when you can bring some of that in and own your mistakes or own your struggles, prove that you're human by not being perfect, and bring that into your story and how you overcame things, which if you're not sure how to do that, go back and listen to the episode on storytelling and how to talk about how you overcame a challenge. But by bringing in some of the stuff that didn't go so well or mistakes that you learned from, this is what's going to help people to bond with you about, because it shows genuine leadership. Like, leaders aren't perfect. They own their mistakes. They talk about their vulnerabilities and what they're either doing differently or how they overcame them. So it really just shows that you're human and you're normal, and people will relate to that far more. And then lastly, authority builds trust, and trust drives sales, because we buy from people that we trust. So the more that you can build your authority, the more you can build trust, and therefore the easier it'll be for people to buy from you, because they'll just be like, yes, I trust this person as the industry leader, I want to buy from her. So I just want you to take a little minute here. When you think about people who you follow and who you consider to be an authority in their individual niche, what traits and qualities do they possess? And this might vary from person to person, but what do you find important? How do you view authority? Write down some words here. I wrote down some. And I put knowledgeable, influential, inspiring, a thought leader, a trusted advisor, goes against the grain. Those are some things that come to mind for me, but yours might look slightly different. But it's this person who is very knowledgeable in their subject area, and they're not afraid to show off this knowledge. They go deep, or they go the extra mile. They're not trying to create surface level stuff. They're not trying to create stuff that you could chat GPT. They're showing that personalization or that extra twist, or that, just the whipped cream on top of the cake. They're going the extra mile. It matters. If you're only doing, 5 tips that, frankly, a robot could write in 30 seconds, honey, you're not showing yourself to be the industry leader that you are. So we need to be bringing in some of your expertise and like really showing off your knowledge, but being a little bit playful with it, or bringing in some extra details, things that only you would know, or is your particular method or way of doing things, or is particular to the way that you speak. Okay, so some areas where authority comes from, and then we'll get stuck into ways that you can be building your authority. So authority comes from your knowledge and expertise. So this is stuff like how many years you've been doing this, courses that you've taken, coaching or personal development that you've done, if you've got qualifications or accreditations, certificates, training, courses, things that you've done to build your subject knowledge in this area. So all of that experience that you've been gathering, skills that you've been learning and honing, this is where your authority comes in, because those are all courses and programs and things that you've learned that the average Joe has not. So this is stuff you need to be talking about. Your skills, your impact, and your past experiences. So this might be, again, either things that you've acquired. Your past experiences might be unique experiences that you had that, again, the average Joe wouldn't have had. Whether this was, a company trip that you went on, that you were able to have a unique experience with clients, or a holiday that you went on that something happened, or you're able to learn a new skill, or just have a completely unique experience to you. Whether it was a past job that you worked at where you either learned a particular skill, or that company had a particular way of doing things, or you were entrusted with a certain level of responsibility that helped you to do X, Y, Z. Think about all of your past roles, past job experiences, past hobbies, anything that either now shapes the way that you do things, or that your clients can get something from as a result of these past experiences. Your self-belief and your courage is also a place for authority. Like the amount that you back yourself and the main character of energy you bring is 100% authority. And this is what I mean. You can land on someone's profile and it be a relatively new profile, but because they show up like they are the absolute shit and there is no competition, you instantly are like, oh, this person, I'm just enthralled by this. And it draws you in because they've got such courage, such self-belief, such commitment to the cause, as if there's nobody else who does what they do and they're already stood on the podium on that number one space, that it's just encapsulating. Is that the right word? Enthralling? Maybe. It's been a few questions during this episode. I'm going to go research what the female version of master is after this. Anyway, just back on last point. Authority also comes from evidence. Authority comes from social proof. So if you're someone that's like, oh, I don't yet feel like an authority, or how can I feel like more of an authority? Honey, go get the evidence. Go get your social proof. Go dig out your feedback forms. Go look at your reviews and share that shit everywhere. Because the easiest way for you to stand out against the average Joes is to share your social proof like it is glitter on the internet. Sprinkle that shit everywhere. So, just recapping some of those. We've got your knowledge and expertise. We've got your skills, your impact, your past experiences, your self-belief and courage, and your social proof, your evidence. So these are all areas that your authority can come from. These are all ways, things that put the swagger in your step, Put that little strut in your main character energy walk. So how can you be bringing this into your content, into your business, into your energy? And we're going to run through some ways for you to build your authority. So number one is utilize video marketing. If you're not already doing this, girl, what are you doing? Utilize video marketing, because the easiest way for people to build trust is to see your face. So like video is most ideal, because then they can just see you talking. They can hear from you directly and be building a relationship with your face. Even if you're not a super confident person on video, photos. LinkedIn is great for that. There's plenty of people on LinkedIn who are sharing photos but not video, and they're still building a high amount of trust. So if video is your go-to, get your ass on TikTok. If video is not your go-to, get your ass on LinkedIn. And if I would be using those as your top of the funnel platforms to bring people back to your Insta. If you're listening to this and Insta is your main platform, choose your high reach platform and then bring people back to your Insta. But I mean, your funnel might look slightly different. But anyway, that is a lesson for another day. So I've said utilize video marketing. Another way for you to build authority is to use assertive language. Again, if you haven't listened to the language episode on here, go back. It was called Things You're Saying That Is Cock-Blocking Your Sales. Using assertive language is a great and easy way to build authority because you're clearly not adding fluff words into your words or sentences. If words don't need to be there, they're not there. Simple. When you're assertive in your language, it shows directness, it shows confidence, it builds authority. Whereas when you're doing the opposite and you're adding loads of filler words or just taking a really long time to say something that didn't need to take a long time, you're showing a lack of confidence. You're showing that you don't trust yourself, so people aren't going to trust you if you don't trust yourself. Another way that you can build your authority is by collaborating with others. So whether that's joint lives, whether that is joint blog posts, whether that is joint events. You know, there's lots of ways that you can collaborate with other people. And the more that you do this, the more it's going to build trust because people are going to see you constantly collaborating with others in the industry. And it's not just about you building out your network like a little spider web of people and connections that you're making across the whole industry and just getting yourself super, super known. Nope, that was the whole sentence. It is about you spiderwebbing your way across the industry. That is exactly it. Because the more that you collaborate and the more that you're seen to collaborate, the more it's going to build trust. So not only is that a great way of getting more visible to, a far bigger audience, but it's about how you're seen when you're doing that. If people are constantly seeing you, whether it's once a week, every second week, however often it is, they're constantly seeing you going live with somebody else. It's another, brick in the wall of this person is credible. I can trust this person. They're going places. They're doing things. They're building connections. I can trust this person. So it's a great other way of building your authority. Plus, obviously, getting visible in front of a far bigger audience. So there's that as well. Number 4 is providing regular free value. Let's not underestimate this, guys. Great way for you to build your authority is to consistently provide free, excellent value. For all the people who are just like, oh, educational content is dead. No, it's fucking not. Shut up. Tell that to Alex Hormozy, who's built like an 8-figure brand off educational content alone. Are you kidding me? About educational content is dead. Oh my God. People are wild. They will say anything to be controversial, but the idea that educational content will ever die, that would put pay to YouTube. People are literally just filling YouTube with tutorials. So are you going to say that YouTube's... I'm going off on a tangent. Bring it back, Sarah. It's not the time. So, provide regular free value. Educate your clients. Be showy offy with your knowledge. Just be like, here is everything I know. Because when you're like that, people are like, oh my God, look at her subject knowledge. Look how much she knows this platform that I don't know. Or all the ins and outs that she knows that I don't know. Or her level of either depth or experience or the way that she's worked with so many clients in this area. Either your clients aren't going to know that at all, or even if they know that, they haven't got that level of experience that you've got. So I would be educating consistently for free in your content. Because the other thing with that is don't ever worry about giving too much in your free content. Because people don't prioritize it as they would if you taught them that exact same thing in a paid container. Because when it's free, people don't pay attention. So Share good, free shit. Coming back to more ways to build your authority, share your knowledge. Share it. Share it everywhere. In your lives, in your Facebook group, on your podcast, in your carousel posts, in your stories, in your emails, on LinkedIn, on TikTok. Wherever you are, share your knowledge. Let people know how much you know. This is also a little sign that if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't yet feel like a pro in my area. Firstly, that's awesome that you've got the self-awareness to be like, I think there's a gap here. That's an opportunity, because there's the two areas of growing a business. There's the skill, and then there's the business side of like growing a business. And what you can't do is get complacent on improving the skill. Just because you're learning how to grow a business does not mean that you can just park getting better at what you actually do. Yeah, it's not one or the other. There's always going to be some business growth stuff to do, but that doesn't mean that you can just finish. You don't hit a 9 out of 10 and then just stop learning about how to be better at your skill. No, ideally, you will continue to improve at the way that you do things, the skill itself. So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't quite feel like an expert, awesome. See that as an opportunity. And either go enroll in an extra course or YouTube or Skillshare, wherever it is that you're doing the learning of the skill. Go set some time aside, whether it's Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, or like Friday evenings. Get a glass of wine. However you like best to learn. Never stop learning and improving the way that you do the thing that you're offering, as well as improving your business knowledge and sales and marketing knowledge. So, putting that to one side, other ways to build your authority is to regularly share social proof and results. Easiest way to stand out from other people is to share what results your clients are getting, what people have got with you in the past, what people have said it's like about working with you, their feedback on either your specific offers and containers or your qualities as a mentor, coach, or service provider. The more of that social proof and results, testimonials and feedback that you can share, this is a super, super easy way for you to build your authority and momentum within the business. It's not just authority. So great way to build trust. Another last way is create content that builds trust. So don't just talk about what you do, show it. Whether it's through your own results, whether it's through client results, don't just talk about what you do, show us. Words are one thing, actions are another. So the more that you can create content that builds trust. And again, some of these are going to have quite a lot of overlap, because I would say that content that builds trust is going to be a combination of either social proof, like your results, your client results. Content that builds trust, I would also include video marketing as one of that. Content that builds trust, I would include collaborating with others as that. Content that builds trust, high-level educational content. Content that builds trust is talking about wins, milestones, or achievements. So, we've got quite a lot of overlap, but you're seeing now how you can build up more authority. And then the last point I want to cover here is embodying your next level self. The easiest way to stand out in an industry that has a lot of talk is for you to be embodying the transformation yourself. If you feel like things aren't landing or there's a bit of hesitancy from your audience, it might be that they're waiting to see from you the transformation that you are promising. So the more that you can embody the transformation that either your offer provides, your coaching provides, your one-to-one or your mini course or whatever it is, the more that you can embody that and show that and move from a place of just absolute confidence and just unapologeticness, the easier it will be for people to come through, because they'll be like, yes, she's not just talking about it, I'm seeing it. I am seeing it. So we covered quite a lot here today. I feel like this was quite an entertaining episode. It was for me making it, so I hope you enjoyed this. And just wrap it up to a close here. The more that you can position yourself as the authority, the industry leader, by doing some of the things that we've talked about today and just showing your knowledge, inspiring people by showing people either the different way that you think about things, or the different client results that you're getting, or the different people that you're working with, or just bringing in your unique past experiences, your beliefs, your vision, and backing it with your social proof. This is what's going to really set you apart. So this is your time for big dick energy. Bring the more big dick energy and bringing that into your content, the easier it'll be for you to align yourself as the go-to, no-brainer industry leader. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. If you've enjoyed it, if you want to share it to your stories on Insta or share it to your social media, don't forget to tag me, Sarah Buckland Coaching, and I shall see you in the next episode.